last.
What if I told you that The Matrix, yes, that movie with the slow motion bullet dodging scene, is also a masterclass in copywriting? I know. You're probably thinking, what does The Matrix have to do with writing persuasive copy? But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see just how Neo, Trinity, and Morpheus accidentally or maybe purposefully teach us some of the best lessons in writing copy that actually works. So let's dive in. First up, let's talk about hooks, the thing that grabs people's attention. For that, we have to go to the beginning of the movie in the scene where Neo meets Trinity for the first time inside of a club. Now there's a bit of dialogue that happens before this particular scene, but I want to emphasize this first part because it's important.
I know why you're here, Neo. I know what you've been doing. I know why you hardly sleep, why you live alone, and why night after night you sit at your computer. You're looking for him.
Whoa, slow down, Trinity. Seriously though, put yourself in Neo's shoes for a second. A complete stranger walks up to you, telling you things that maybe only you yourself would know about yourself. Sounds a lot like the Facebook algorithm, doesn't it? But anyway, let's break down this marketing spiel for a second. I know why you're here, Neo. I know what you've been doing. I know why you hardly sleep, why you live alone, and why night after night you sit at your computer. You're looking for him. So what Trinity is trying to do in this scene is she's trying to establish a connection with her target audience. And to do that, she has to get into her audience's head. And right away, we see that, she gets him. She knows what he's struggling with, and that's why Neo listens. So now let me ask you, when you're writing your copy, whether it's an intro, a video script, an email, a sales page, or even just a YouTube title, do you speak directly to your audience's struggles like that? How well do you know your audience really? Because that's what a great hook does. It shows your audience that you know exactly what it is they're feeling and makes them think, okay, I need to know more. So think about some of the ads maybe that you've seen here on YouTube. A fitness ad would likely start with something like, are you having trouble losing weight? Maybe you've tried every single diet that these so-called experts have recommended, and yet nothing seems to work. You'll find that the majority of ads they start in almost the exact same way. They speak about their audience's pains and problems and struggles. Now let's go back to the scene. Trinity doesn't stop there. She makes herself relatable to her target by saying,
You're looking for him. Because I was once looking for the same thing. And when he found me, he told me I wasn't really looking for him. I was looking for an answer. It's the question that drives us here. It's the question that brought you here. You know the question, just as I did.
What is the Matrix?
boom! Instant connection. And this is what every good piece of copy should do. It should call out your audience's pain, and that it should show them that you've been there too. So let's think back to our health and fitness example. Usually you'll find advertisers following up that first line with something like, I also used to be 300 pounds overweight. I tried everything. Nothing worked. No matter what exercise routine I did, no matter what diet I followed, it wasn't until I tried this one thing that everything changed and I finally started to lose weight. It's called the red pill diet. Yeah, so you notice the similarities between Trinity and your everyday salesman? So not only does Trinity grab Neo's attention by saying that she knows what he's going through, but she solidifies that connection by saying that, I've been there. She's been there before. And now before she leaves, she drops one final line. It's such a tease, but it's also truly copywriting gold. The answer is out there, Neo, and it's looking for you. And it will find you if you want it to. What a hook, right? Not only does she grab Neo's attention, but she also makes him and us as the audience, desperate to know more. What is the Matrix? What is it? That's how you write the hook. Now, if Trinity's hook was amazing, Morpheus is the master closer. Because when Neo finally meets Morpheus, he uses the same method that Trinity used, but better. After all, Trinity is the student and he's the master. So he begins by putting himself in Neo's shoes once again, recognizing his pains and his struggles.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
You could say that.
I can see it in your eyes.
So right there, he relates to Neo's confusion. After this, they do a little dance and exposition to reveal more about what the Matrix is. But there comes a point wherein Morpheus finally starts to get serious about selling Neo the red pill diet. And when he does, Morpheus hits Neo with this.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
Now, if that isn't brilliant copywriting, I don't know what is. So he's describing Neo's exact pain point, and by extension, also the audience's pain and struggle. He's describing it in very vivid and emotional detail. And that's exactly what you want to do with your copywriting. You want to be as detailed and specific as possible. You want to use the same words and phrases that your target audience uses to describe their problem. You want to know the depths of their feelings and emotions. And most of all, you want to be able to speak to them as if you know exactly what's going through their head. So let's keep going.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is?
Dun dun dun! I want you to pause and notice that last line for a second. How many times have you heard an ad say something similar? If not even to use the exact same words. Do you want to know what it is? So now here's the thing. Morpheus doesn't give him the whole answer. He teases the solution. And just like in good copywriting, you don't give the whole secret right away. You give just enough to make them, lean in closer. Now, Morpheus does his best to explain what the Matrix is to Neo, but it's still all a little vague, a little difficult to understand. So, in the same way, you'll notice that in many ads, they'll probably give you a list of all the features and benefits of their product. The red pill diet activates hormones and whatnot in your body. It speeds up your metabolism so you can digest your food you can digest your food better or something like that. They'll do their best to explain the product and what it can do for you. But when it comes to closing the sale, they'll say the exact same thing Morpheus says at the end of his monologue.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
Now, in this last part of Morpheus' pitch, you'll notice a small yet very noticeable statement that if you move it, or if you remove it from this movie setting, it sounds very salesy. So let's roll this clip.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
Now tell me that's not the best call to action ever. He gives Neo a choice, and he creates a sense of urgency and scarcity. This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. Think about how many ads you run into on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatnot. What is it they say to get you to click? Enrollment closes tonight. You don't want to miss this. The sale ends in 24 hours. Last chance to support this Kickstarter campaign. There's a reason they say these things, because it works. And guess what? Neo takes the red pill. Because Morpheus knew exactly how to frame the offer. Now, the last thing you want to do, of course, is to fool your audience and create a false sense of scarcity and urgency. So like, if your sale is ending, make sure to go back up to full price, when it does. The last thing you want to do is lie to your audience and lose all that trust that you were trying to build. But nevertheless, you want to make sure that you give your audience a reason to click, to add to cart, to check out. And you want to be clear about what it is you're offering. Otherwise, all that effort will be for nothing. So to recap, what are the key copywriting lessons we can learn from The Matrix? One is to know your audience. Speak directly to their struggles, just like Trinity did with Neo. Be relatable. Share your story. Make them feel like, wow, this person gets me. Build curiosity is the third. Don't spill all your secrets right away. Tease the solution to keep them engaged and give them enough information to go on and see if, their product or their service is right for them. And then finally, use urgency and clear calls to action. Like Morpheus with the red pill. Make them feel like now is the time to act. So the next time you sit down, write a script, an email, a sales page, ask yourself, am I channeling my inner Morpheus or Trinity? Because great copy isn't about fancy words, it's about understanding people. It's about connecting with them and guiding them to take the right action. So, of course, if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments, what's your favorite line from The Matrix? And if you want more creative lessons for movies, hit that like button and subscribe. And I also have like an $8 ebook that contains my method of copywriting, or my system rather. And if you're interested in that and you want to learn my method step by step, just go to the link in the description to check that out.